Heading up the cat track, making our way to the saddle. Barely see the summit, making progress. Just gotta get to the top of Palmer here and then can evaluate. A little over 2,000 feet an hour, doing about an hour and a half. Just getting to the top of Palmer chairlift. Gonna make the traverse over the saddle. So actually might get some decent sleep tonight. Alright, we're at the top of Palmer chairlift. About to leave the cat track and the last 800 feet or so up to the saddle. How we doing, Ian?
Hey.
We're almost at the right elevation. We got to start traversing left pretty hard.
Yeah, we're right over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Emerging in the tent,
That's
leisurely right. 7 a.m. Just made a warm breakfast and coffee. Things are feeling pretty good. There she lie. There's the crux. That's light work for us. You ready yet? Got a couple groups back here doing loot hold, or loose hold, however you say it. We're getting close to the base of the ridge. Here we go. Making our way up the cruiser slopes, which we skillfully have avoided to take a more difficult route. Should have stayed to the left over there. That's where we're headed.
You what?
I think we should I just jumped.
I'll just take it from here. I'll just take it from here.
Yeah?
Well, I mean... Whoa.
Thanks. Yeah. this weather. We're up here, the rime ice is insane. I'm a little afraid it's gonna collapse on us any second here, so that would be unfortunate, but we'll see. All right, we're in this gully. We made a full 35-meter wrap down into the next gully over from Luthold. We are desperately trying to avoid getting to the Luthold couloir because I don't think that is the true route. So we joined this gully. It's pretty steep. There's a vertical step just up ahead of me, but we are going to try it in hopes that it will carry us to the summit ridge. Almost there. I would say we stayed pretty true to the ridge. We had to do one more wrap, so a third one into a couloir, and then we made it up to the ridge crest. Hopefully we can go join the boot pack over there without doing another wrap. How are we doing, Ian?
Good. Oh, hey.
The camera's on.
I know.
Do you have anything you'd like to say to our subs?
Great route. Conditions are in, I believe, for us.
Yeah.
We tried a couple different routes up a couloir, didn't really work out, so we had to wrap down.
The route finding is pretty tough.
Yeah, nothing's holding very well, but I think this is as good as it gets, so.
Yeah, I would presume.
Yeah, wrapped down and found the very next couloir and went right back up it, so. Now we're here.
To the summit!
Nice work.
That's fine. Made it back to camp.
We're back.
right, this will be a brief trip summary of Ian and I's climb of Yocum Ridge. I think February 4th was the day we actually climbed the ridge. I heard about this route from a lot of places. I think on just browsing Mountain Project, honestly, I kind of have been having a knack lately for doing like the Premier or the Premier Tough route on a lot of the Cascade Range volcanoes, and I think this one is kind of universally known as like the Premier hard route on Hood. I'm not sure if that's justified. I've only done the standard route before this, but it was very unique and interesting, and the setting was phenomenal. And this does not get climbed a lot. There's not a ton of information out there. There's a few really good trip reports. Nick's trip reports on Spoke Alpine. Dude's got an awesome website, and he's got hands down the most detailed trip report for this route. So we read through that a few times. It was super helpful. But putting this video out there, so hopefully if anyone has the guts to attempt this, they can use this as a resource. But I'll briefly go over how we did the climb and the timeline. So Friday after work, we left from Kashmir up here, went over Blewett, drove through Yakima, Goldendale, across the Oregon border, and then we actually went through Hood River down to Government Camp to the bottom of Mount Hood. We already had our stuff pre-packed, skins ready to go, so we just parked and jumped out of the truck and started skinning at like 8:45 p.m. So in the dark. I was hoping we were going to camp at Illumination Saddle Friday night, and I was hoping we'd be asleep by 1 a.m., but we actually made phenomenal time. I think we were over 2,000 feet an hour going up this, just because it's a groomed cat track. It was pretty icy, but it's still a cat track. So Ian carried the rope, and we booked it up to the top of that top chairlift Palmer, which actually looked like it was running this time of year. I think the snowpack must be so low that they can actually run this lift during the winter, which they conventionally do not do. So then after that, we went off the track and then just skinned across this icy part. We had to ditch skis at one point to go up this super steep slope. It was just really icy snow at this point. It was super cold Friday night. And then we traversed across, made it to Illumination Saddle by like before 11, I think. You'll have to check the splits. But yeah, I mean, it was like 2 hours and change to get to the saddle. So Friday night, went to sleep before midnight. We made a meal there for dinner too. Leisurely slept until 6 a.m. There was 3 or 4 pairs of people doing Luthold Couloir that passed us in the morning as we were getting ready. Left all our camp stuff here, took as light of packs as possible, and then started the route. You basically descend down the other side of the saddle a few hundred feet, and kind of make a downward traverse across Reed Glacier, which in the winter this time of year was fine. There's no crevasses. Although there were a few spots you could tell there's crevasses in the summer. The cover was a little thin, so we tried to tread lightly, but we were roped up through that. It's easy enough. Go down to 8,800 feet, which is what the trip report's saying. That's spot on. 8,800 feet, you gain the ridge. Pretty easy daggering up this slope, and then you basically get on the ridge crest, and the name of the game for this climb is you stay on the ridge crest to the extreme extent. The ridge is super, super steep at times on both sides, and the only way is to go up and over these gendarmes, or like rock pinnacles, but they're plastered with rime ice in the winter. So you actually will summit them, rappel off the other side, and then go up the next one. So a series of 3 gendarmes. I tried to mark them on here as close as I could while we were climbing, and then you get up to this head wall, which was the crux for us. But back to where we were. The first gendarme was pretty steep. We did 2 short, like 40, 50 foot, probably more than that, 50, 60 foot pitches, which I led with decent pro. We used pickets, and I think I got a cam in for each of them to pair with when for the anchors at least, and then maybe put a picket in on the way up. But anyways, made it to the top of the first gendarme. Wasn't too hard. Slung the top, and then there's no way to ease into it. You just got to jump off the top. So once you wrap off the top, you kind of make an awkward traversing rappel along the ridge crest. It's pretty sharp. So I ran out the rope on rappel, and then gave Ian the signal. He started down. The awkward rappels take forever, like 15-20 minutes just to get to the end of a 70-meter rope. After that, I waited for Ian. He rappelled down to here, and then I belayed him up to an easy spot, and we simuled up around the second gendarme, which is kind of trivial. You do bypass it barely, but you're not really even leaving the ridge crest. It's just not as prominent as the others. Then you get to the third gendarme, same story. Climb it, sling the top, wrap off the backside. This one had a really awkward traversing rappel because the ridge is just so serrated right here. I actually had to end up rappelling. I had my tools on my harness, and I had to have one hand kind of feeding myself out rope and the other hand climbing with the tool to like stay attached. And it's because you move so far sideways on the rappels. So I made it to a little notch there, and then that was the very end of the rope. I just pulled it through and then soloed up to the base of this head wall while Ian finished the wrap, and then pulled the rope. Base of the head wall, we took a little break. We were making a super good time. It was still in the morning. We soloed up couloir, and then it gets steeper, and you kind of get to the base of this upper head wall feature that is just kind of giant fourth gendarme. It's bigger than a gendarme, so I don't know if that's the proper term. Anyways, we tried to climb this thing. We did. I wanted to go one way, Ian wanted to go another, and I agreed with Ian. His way started to look a little better. And we tried to climb it in two spots, but it was a vertical rime that just was dissolving. Ian tried and didn't want to do it, and then I tried to one-up him and took a pretty decent lead fall when like my feet collapsed and I tried to hold myself pinned with my knees inside of this goalie. Then that collapsed, and then my pick placements were terrible, so those collapsed. I just slid all the way down. We had a bomber picket placement though with some backup, so I knew that going into it. I would not have hung it out there that far and risked falling if we didn't have such bomber pro in that one spot. But we gave up on that, and we knew from the trip reports. I have not seen a trip report of anyone summiting this thing, at least not head on. Maybe that's a variation. I'm sure someone has, but in these conditions, it was not happening, and we would have had to explore for a different route up, and we just didn't have that much time. So we made a wrap with our 70, a full wrap into the gully just to the right, which would be the south side of the ridge. And we were still quite a ways above Luthold Couloir. This is the only place we deviated from the ridge crest. It's actually right here. You can see on the GPX track. Climbed up this couloir and then got to a little 10-foot vertical section, which I belayed Ian on. We had OK Pro, and then he belayed me up. And we finished off the couloir, and you pop out back onto the ridge crest right here. And from there, it's just kind of a steep side hill slog, which we kept the rope on, kind of simuled. And then you make it over here to a kind of flatter bench. Took the rope off and slogged up to the summit. And you join the Luthold boot pack somewhere up probably right here. And it's not the summit that you can see from here. It's called like Queen's Chair or something. I think it's the false summit. Then it's a short, like 10-minute walk to the summit from there. Got to the summit at 4:20 p.m., which was a lot later than we wanted. The head wall debacle on the upper head wall took up more time than we wanted, but stayed at the top for a few minutes. Bluebird skies, amazing conditions. And then I was exhausted, but we turned around, went back down, whatever you call this route, kind of near the standard route, but on the other side of this, sulfur vent rock thing. I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, from there back down to our camp at Illumination Saddle in 45 minutes or so. Cleaned up camp for almost an hour, and then we left our skis here. Took the easy and actually somewhat enjoyable ski because the snow had softened up a little bit by the afternoon. Down a couple thousand feet till we hit the resort runs. Maybe that's right here. Or no, it was a little further up here. Then we just skied groomers back down. We had heavy packs and our legs were toasted, so it was not carving by any means. Anyways, back to the truck, made it back to the truck, and I think just after 6 p.m., so it's like an hour and a half to get down from the summit, and an hour that was packing up camp. So we, it was probably 45 minutes total time descending. So easy climb down, and then drove home. We're home by 11, just after 11 p.m. Okay, I'm gonna go over gear pretty briefly because I have made some improvements to my kit. I started tracking my stuff on Pack Wizard here instead of Lighter Pack, which is just a small change. I transferred a few of my packs over, and I'm going to start linking this one, but it's just a little more built out than Lighter Pack. It's got a few more polished features, and just a little more user-friendly. But total weight on this one is 51.81. That includes everything, even the weight that we shared, like the rope, the stove, the pro, all that's in here. So I got 7 pounds of worn weight, and then Ian carried the rope, to which kind of even things out. So I mean, really you could subtract like 17, 18 pounds from this, which puts me more in the low 30 pound, like 32 pound range for the pack, which is a lot more reasonable. And even then, I think I am going to make some improvements to this on our next trip. But only things to note here is I got a new sleeping bag. It's a pound lighter than my other one, Western Mountaineering Versalite. It's a 10 degree. Worked pretty good. I might get a liner. It was pretty close. It's definitely single digits when we were sleeping, and a liner would have been nice to supplement that a little bit. And then tent, we took my Eldorado, which is like over double the weight of the Hyperlight Pyramid, but it's a little warmer, and we were using the reactor stove hanging kit, so easy approach. We decided to take the heavier bomb-proof tent. And it was great. It worked great. The sucker's just freaking heavy. It's like 6 point something pounds with the vestibule. So hopefully we'll be able to fine tune the Hyperlight Pyramid a little better, and I can use that always in the future. Other than that, took the Cobra ice tools. I did get a pair of goalies recently. They didn't arrive in time though. Those goalies with pick weights definitely would have been sufficient for this climb. The ice is never vertical, and it's never water ice, so lighter tools would have been fine. Steel crampons is the way to go. Don't use aluminum because you do hit rock at times, even in the fat conditions that we had it. That's about all I have to note. This is a super unique route to the Pacific Northwest. The rime ice, just the sheer amount of rime ice, I think is hard to find on any other volcano in my experience, at least. And this route, this ridge is just so serrated and sharp on the sides that it makes for an amazing setting that's close to the ski resort, but you feel like way out there and really, really exposed climbing. But it's doable. You don't have to have incredible ice climbing technique to do this route. You just got to have good knowledge and technical skills of how to climb safely with limited to no pro. How to place pro. We used every kind of pro on this one. Screws, pickets mostly, but also cams, and I think even some nuts. So you got to take a little bit of everything and know how to use it. Know that time is a factor as well, but the route's doable. It's not too technical, and I would encourage anyone who has climbed similarly at the grade and is looking for a premier route that is a big one to put on their resume to give it a shot. That's it. Thanks for watching.